What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Daniel Starkand, and we've got an interesting discussion to have today as it relates to a prominent free agent that I don't think we have talked much about as it pertains to the Dodgers, and that is there a potential fit with Freddie Freeman on the Dodgers? Now, this is not a sourced report. Ken Rosenthal has made the connection loosely, just thinking out loud. Jason Stark similarly. But let me read you part of Ken Rosenthal's article on The Athletic, Daniel, and then we can get into Freddie Freeman potentially as a Dodger. He says, the best guess is still that the Braves will keep Freddie Freeman. It's almost unthinkable that they would lose him after winning their first World Series since 1995 and generating a staggering amount of revenue in the process. He goes on, still, all it takes is one team, right? One team to make Freeman feel more love than he evidently is feeling from the Braves. One team to wine him, dine him, woo him, and don't forget this part, pay him the most money. Three big market clubs, the Dodgers, Yankees, and Red Sox, have at least a theoretical opening at first base. He goes on to say that the contract expectation could be based around Paul Goldschmidt's deal, which was a 5-year, $130 million deal. Both were entering their age 32 season. Freeman was better than Goldschmidt going into that. But let's say it's 5 years and $150 million. He goes on to say, hey, the Dodgers could play Max Muncy at second, Trey Turner at shortstop if Corey Seager were not to return. Freddie Freeman could be a left-handed bat that replaces Corey Seager's left-handed bat. There's a lot of fascinating things here. It's less years. It's about the same, if not maybe less money. It's a left-handed bat. What do you make of this report? And again, there are not reports connecting the Dodgers. It's smart people thinking out loud with, it's weird that Freddie Freeman is not re-signed with the Braves, ... Could a team like the Dodgers be interested?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I'm surprised it's taken this long for like those dots to be connected. And I'm not saying at all like that the Dodgers are going to sign Freddie Freeman. I'm not expecting that to happen. But like, if Freddie Freeman's camp is trying to drive up the price for the Braves, and we've talked about this on past videos, then what better team to throw out there than the Dodgers? Like, not only do the Dodgers have all the money in the world to spend, so it's like kind of realistic that they would go after Freeman, but also like these are the two teams that have been in the NLCS the past 2 years. So how much would that shift the balance of power if you take Freddie Freeman off the Braves and then put him on the Dodgers? I guarantee you that Alex Anthopoulos and the Braves front office do not want that to happen. So and then the other aspect of it is just like, are the Braves, I think the Braves hold all the cards here. Like, obviously, like I think he wants to go back to the Braves. I think they want him back. I don't understand why they're like, penny, like trying to lowball Freddie Freeman, who's been like the icon of their franchise for the past
after you win the World Series.
Right after you win the World Series, and he was great the whole time. Like, not only is he great on the field, he's a great guy to have in your clubhouse. Like, he's a leader. So like if he wants 6 years and you won't go past 5, like, to me, like, Freddie Freeman's the guy that you just say like, all right, like, we'll cave there and give you what you want, not only because of how great you are, but also if you look at his last contract, he was significantly underpaid for the production he gave. So I don't understand why the Braves are doing this, but if they are, I think the Dodgers make a lot of sense on the field. You laid it out. Like, I mean, Freddie Freeman's a great player. You add his left-handed bat in the middle of the Dodgers lineup, and then you get a little less sad about Seager walking, I'd say. Like, that's an easy replacement right there. Like you said, Trey moves over to short. Max Muncy, who is only under contract for 1 more year, and so there's no guarantee. Like, he's going to get paid a lot next winter, so I wouldn't bet on him being a Dodger long term. He could play second base for a year, and then you have Freddie Freeman at first base, so that kind of eases the loss of Muncy a year from now. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm not expecting it to happen. I still think Freddie's going to be a Brave, but hey, if something goes south and the Dodgers want to jump in, I don't think any Dodger fan would be mad about that. Like, we've seen Freddie Freeman kind of torment us in postseasons for years now.
Yeah, and to be clear, we're not saying Muncy is definitely going to be gone a year from now. We're just saying you have to look at the scenarios and say, if for the longest time it has been, of course, the Dodgers re-sign their best players. This year is the first example where at some point you have too many really good players due up at the same time and too many really good players due up in the future where you can't pay everybody $25 to $30 million a year. So you've got to make decisions. They made the decision with Mookie Betts. You and I have both said we think they're going to make a similar decision either with Trey Turner or with Corey Seager. Here's what fascinates me about Freddie Freeman. as a comparison with Corey Seager, because it feels like even though they play different positions, you could make a decision between the two, and either way, you're going to have three guys that cover first base, second base, and shortstop. Whether it's Trey at second or short, whether it's Muncy at first or second, those guys are flexible enough that you can choose. The thing with Freeman is they're both left-handed bats, but the thing with Freeman is the health perspective. He played 162 games in 2018, 158 in 2019, all 60 in 2020, and 159 games in 2021. Yes, he's older than Seager. He just turned 32 in September, but he's showing no signs of wearing down physically. The power is still there. The average is still there. The approach feels like it fits a little bit more into what the Dodgers have. And on top of all that, while he is older, you probably only need to commit to him for 5 years, maybe a sixth year, whereas Seager is 8, maybe 10. And so that's what's interesting to me. We know the Dodgers love the shorter term contracts, and from a health perspective, even though he's older, I mean, I would almost think you feel better about Freddie Freeman's next 5 years from a health perspective than even Corey Seager's next 5 years from a health perspective, even though Freeman is 4 or 5 years older than what he is, than Seager is. And so that's where it's interesting to me. Obviously, he's a great clubhouse guy. I'm not saying I would prioritize Freddie Freeman over Corey Seager, but we've got a video up on our channel that you and I were talking about Corey Seager, the latest rumors. We're more optimistic he returns. But if he were to not return and you want to talk about a bat that is out there, I would absolutely throw the bag at Freddie Freeman and say, come be the left-handed bat in the middle, play first base for us every single day, rotate Muncy to second, rotate Trey Turner to shortstop, and everything kind of falls into place just as if Corey Seager had returned. So for me, Seager would still be the priority just because I think Freeman is a long shot. I think he returns to Atlanta like you did, like you've said. Obviously, Seager's a homegrown guy. I love that. We've seen what he did for the Dodgers in the postseason. I mean, of course, that's part of the argument for Freeman is Freeman kills it in the postseason every year. But to me, I would prioritize Seager. But if Seager were not to go, I mean, I would literally throw the bag at Freddie Freeman. Is that where you're at?
That's exactly where I'm at. I mean, we've seen that outside of Seager, the Dodgers aren't really interested in the high-end shortstops, and I think that makes sense just because you have Trey Turner and you could easily just move him over there. Like, I don't think it has to be shortstop or bust. I don't think, obviously, first base is not a huge need either, but because of Max Muncy's versatility, I think it's and Freddie Freeman is as good of a player as he is, that I definitely think it's something worth exploring. Like we said, we're not expecting it to happen, but hey, if the Dodgers end up driving the price up for the Braves and Freddie gets paid more because of it, you know, they can't sign some other guys because of how much money they have committed to Freeman and other guys, then I think that's also a win for the Dodgers, just because we know the Braves are a young up and coming team. Obviously, they just won the World Series and that was without Ronald Acuna. Like, they're not going anywhere for a long time. So if the Dodgers could even just do that, I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at Freeman's numbers, he has not hit below 295 since 2016. He has not had an on-base percentage under 388 since 2016. His slugging percentage has been over 500 every year since 2016. I mean, he is the model of consistency. He has had 2 seasons cut short by injury, 2015 and 17. But going back to 2011, 157, 147, 147, 162, 118, 158, 117. Then it's 162, 158, 60, and 159. So the guy is the model. Obviously, first base, a less taxing position, but a fascinating scenario to watch. Again, to be clear, if you're just joining us partway through, we are not reporting anything. It has been mentioned, thought out loud, verbally processed by Ken Rosenthal and Jason Stark. So there are people talking about it, suggesting, connecting dots, say, hey, you never know. Again, they're not reporting anything. They're not sourcing anything, but interesting to see. So we appreciate you joining us. That's Daniel Starkand. My name's Jeff Spiegel. This is DodgerHeads presented by DodgerBlue.com. As always, please ring the notification bell and subscribe. If you ring the notification bell, what that'll do is it'll make sure when one of these guys does sign with the Dodgers, hopefully, we'll have the video right to you. You'll know it's there, and you can be the first to find out about it. Check out DodgerBlue1958 on social media, DodgerBlue.com as well. We appreciate you joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and we'll see you next time.